Sorry. So I just had to do something about the lighting. It's like overcast a little bit today, so anyway, I had to do something about that because the sun keeps coming out and then it goes behind the clouds. I think it's gonna rain in a little while. It's so humid. Oh my god, it's so humid here, you guys. Okay, so all right, so and this is where I get the back to the Morrigan. Okay, so Morrigan may have also been a generic title for a collection of goddesses. So instead of just one specific goddess, she embodies several, typically. The Morrigan is associated with several names: Bab, Masha, Anu, Danu, Nima, Nemain, Nemain, and Fae, all of whom were called the daughters of Ernmas. Little documentation exists for Ernmas, an obscure deity, although in some translations, Ernmas meant murder. Yikes. That's why she's so badass, though, I swear. It's unclear whether these names referred to different aspects of the Morrigan or described distinctly independent characters. In earlier depictions, the Morrigan is defined as both a demonic flying creature and a member of a specific class of nasty beings. Despite these descriptions, it's unknown whether the Morrigan was feared by the Irish Celts, given that these writings were authored by Christians many centuries after the Celtic gods had been largely abandoned. Were the scribes of the new religion frightened of a divine female? What do you think? And that's why I started, what is going on with my, everything today? My hair, my shirt. I don't know. Anyway, I tried to get, presentable for this, but it's like yesterday I had like a lot to do and I had to like go and like dress and like actually human and do all these other things. Today I was like, I really feel like just being in like my, my booty shorts and my tank top. And I was like, I can't do a video like that. No one's gonna take me seriously. Anyway, so I actually tried to like, be presentable. Not with my hair, but like at least put a little bit of, got a little shine going on. So this is where those pronunciations are gonna start kicking my ass. Okay, so all right, where did I leave off? Okay, the divine female. Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay, so I don't know if you are interested in astrology, if you're watching this. I mentioned it before, and I keep hearing him. His name is Timothy Halloran. Yeah, Rasa Leela Healing. I like his astrology talks and stuff. He just keeps it real. And I mean, I also watch the Leo King, but he's a little abrasive sometimes and dramatic. And although I can appreciate that because I like drama, and I mean, God, for God's sakes, I'm reading about a Celtic goddess that murders and, was supposed to be demonic or something. But, when it comes to like my regular life, I like somebody just telling me how it is sometimes. And I don't like the feeling of being rushed or pushed into things. I don't like that. I will drag my heels to the end. And I feel like Leo King does that a little bit. I love him though. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, I love astrology. I'm an astrology student. I need to study more so I know really what I'm talking about. But Timothy kind of breaks it down to where I can really put it into the now energy. And it's not so much about relationships with him, like the Leo King. Although I loved all of that, it was more about like finding somebody, dating and all that. I'm not really into that right now, more about my own journey, finding more about myself, what I like. And Timothy kind of tells it that way, in that perspective. So anyway, what I'm saying that to say this. He was talking about how this time that we're in right now is kind of like restructuring in the way that we are moving away from patriarchy. Thank God. Okay. Thank God. If I can tell you how many personal tarot readings I've done where the Hierophant comes up, because I hate structure. I mean, let me go back, say this. The Hierophant isn't all about structure, but for me, it's about doing things the way they've always been done. And that's what's hard for me as a person in this time-space reality. I love this stuff. Like, I love history. I love ritual. I love, like, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I always loved, like, that whole pomp and circumstance of it all. But where I get away from that is there's an aspect of me that was a persecuted witch, or a defamed female that, you know, got impregnated by somebody she wasn't supposed to and got, you know, stoned to death or something. Like, I feel those energies within me. And, you know, I think at some point I was also a man who was a warrior and had to fight for his family. And I think all of those aspects I can find within myself. I think we've all been, you know, a male or a female at some point on our journeys in past lifetimes, if you believe in that. But with what Timothy was saying about this time is that we are coming more into, and he didn't even say matriarchy, he said sacriarchy, where it's going to be less about male and female and more about just communities of people, but also being okay with your sovereign self and drawing from within to then create things that help your connections and your communities, which I love. I love the aspect of being just myself and bringing my best self to those around me, and not in a selfish way, but just taking care of me first. You know, okay, I'm hungry. I need an apple. I need, you know, a bowl of soup. I need, you know, sorry, my daughters are in here. I thought somebody was coming in. Anyway, yeah, so I'm easily distracted. Anyway, so I'm not going to read a whole lot of this today. I'm just going to, you know, do a little bit, and then I'll do a little bit at a time. So maybe we'll do like a weekly thing and just revisit it, because I'm also going to do some tarot today, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. But I really wanted to just get like the basics of the Morrigan. And basically what I was saying, as far as this being timely for me to be drawn to this, is because there's so much divisiveness, and a lot of us are grasping for things to believe in. And it's natural for us to go backwards. It's natural. It's something humanity's been doing for a while. You know, it seems like we've been going 10 steps forward, 25 steps back, you know, with a lot of things, like with the most recent Roe versus Wade thing. And I'm not even going to get, I don't like politics. I'm not going to get really political on here. I do have videos where I talk about like housing and, you know, other things that are very much based in the 3D, but I wanted to do this from a more mystical view, basically. But what drew me to the Morrigan, not only the crows and my relationship with that as my spirit animal, but the power in being a divine female and grasping that. We need to grasp it. We need to take it by the reins and take back that control, because we've been getting our butts whooped out here by all kinds of systems that don't work. Systems that just do not work anymore. They're crumbling, they're falling away. And that's why I get so excited when I see the tower in my readings. Tower is a good thing. Whenever I do my own readings and I see the tower, I'm celebrating, to be honest with you, because I like things that are falling away. As much as I love history and rituals and learning about that, I want to learn about it. I want to know about it, but I'm not going to try to live it. I want to live in the future. I want to live in, the now and the future, not the past. I don't want to live back there. I've already seen that. I've already, like I was saying, the persecuted witches, the, fighting for wars that are for a government that doesn't care about us, That's the baby. Anyway, that's why I've got to try to do these videos at night usually. But today I was feeling kind of inspired to read some of this. So I'll probably read a couple more lines and then I'll get on to something else. So, I'm going to go do some tarot. But, sorry. Was this a misunderstanding of an older culture? Or was the Morrigan a monster both loved and feared by the people who originally knew her? True to many aspects of the Morrigan, we will never have that answer. However, it's suspected that the Celts' relationship to their gods was not a loving one. Celtic gods were living embodiments of the natural world. Such gods could be benevolent, providing food and favorable weather, but they could also be fickle and violent, causing foul weather, disease, and famine. Worship of the gods was likely rooted in appeasement and distraction. Keep the gods happy so they will leave us in peace. Doesn't that sound familiar? That resonates for me. That's ingrained in us. And I hear a lot about it right now playing out, like people talking about karma and people's karma and, oh my God, they're going to get it, You better play nice or they're going to get, it's like, we don't determine that. And for us to really think that we do, we're so in our ego. We're going to get smacked in the face for it. That's why I like looking into this. I like reading about it. It tells me more about who we are, how far we've come. Even though this is a lot about history, still a lot of it rings true. Okay, if this is true, the Morrigan would not have been uniquely or even especially vile. Any goddess with the power to influence the lives of mortal people would have occasionally been viewed as a fearful entity. Given that her name likely meant some form of queen, we can assume that she was believed to be greatly influential. So love or hate her, influential, right? The Morrigan is one of the Tuatha De Danann. This is where the Gaelic starts coming in, and this is why I was like iffy about doing this because I don't want to sit here and Tuatha Danann. I'm trying to hear it in like Irish Gaelic. So it's Tuathade, little hat symbol. You know what I'm talking about. Danann. The people or tribe of the goddess Danu. I'm just going to say TD. Original role in Celtic Irish faith is unknown. Depending on the tale, there were either gods, demigods, divine people, or a fairy race who periodically aided humans for their own interests or amusement. So basically, they believed they would help you, but it was really all for them, and original. And, like, that was the belief. In the myths, the TD arrived in Ireland on ships from the sky, granting the country great gifts of civilization. The Morrigan and her sisters Bab and Masha were among them. And Bab is B-A-D-B. I think it's Bab. And Masha is M-A-C-H-A. The TD completed the creation of the country before they were conquered by the sons of Mil, or Milesians, whom the myths describe as ancestors of the Celtic Irish. After this defeat, the TD retreated underground into this she. It's Cidhe. It's pronounced she. Cidhe. Mounds, also called fairy mounds. The TD may have been an indigenous Irish people mythologized. Why can't I speak? Over the centuries, who were replaced by or assimilated into groups who later arrived in Ireland. The church generally tolerated preservation of Irish mythology as long as it was disguised as history. So we do not know if the TD were meant to represent flesh and blood humans or if they were always considered mythical. Therefore, we do not know if the Morrigan was ever meant to describe a historical queen or if she was always considered a feature of myth. So there's a lot, like I said, that they don't know. Is the Morrigan one goddess? Yes. See, I always think it's the sisters because I always see the 3 crows. But, I mean, there's sometimes where I see 4 or 5. Like, I've definitely seen, like, a murder of crows. I have a family of, I call them a family of crows. I know they're called a murder, but there's sometimes 3. There's more often than not 3. But it says it's one goddess. Is the Morrigan one of several goddesses all associated with the Morrigan? Yes. So see, she's one, but she's also many in one. Is the Morrigan even a goddess at all, or a title for a group of goddesses? Yes and yes. So she's all of that. So it's so broad, you know, and I think that's the difference between this particular goddess and a lot of the other goddesses that you read about or hear about. Welcome to the first great great paradox of the Morrigan. The singular versus multiple identity of the Morrigan incites online arguments and leaves would-be devotees scratching their heads. Which one is right? Can the Morrigan be one, or many, or both? Contemporary goddess worship is often divided into hard and soft polytheism. Hard polytheists are likely to view the Morrigan as a distinctly singular goddess, or other goddesses associated with the Morrigan, sometimes called the Morrigan sisters, are considered to be strictly separate entities. Soft polytheists might embrace the Morrigan sisters as interchangeable facets of one goddess, just as the facets of a diamond are all part of the same stone. If I had to pick a label, I would call myself a semi-hard polytheist. I approach the Morrigan sisters as, and I'm reading, directly from the text, I approach the Morrigan sisters as individual entities, but sometimes I feel them all as one. That's what I think. I agree. Because this is what, before I even read this, it's like I already intuitively knew this. Does that make sense? Like what she's saying is what I agree with, the woman who wrote this book, Courtney Weber. Because it's like already what I intuitively felt and knew from my first introduction to them. I think when I started doing tarot years ago, I heard about the Morrigan, and then I started to look into like different tattoos I wanted to get, and I started to read more about it because there was a lot of, when I was looking into crow tattoos and stuff, she was coming up a lot. She, whatever. It reminds me of my mother and her sisters. The women are very different, but being from the same family, they share strong similarities. At a family gathering, you might find them talking or laughing in such unison, they might as well be one person. That's like my mom and her sisters. Yeah, I can relate to that. Understanding the Morrigan as a single goddess, several goddesses, or another combination is a personal experience. It's not the intention of this book to prove one over the other, nor should it be. For continuity, I refer to the sisters as separate entities. Sometimes the myths are unclear to whether the Morrigan is singular or a collection, and we must make our best guesses. The gods are, and always have been, enigmatic. Seeking to understand is part of human nature, but unraveling this conundrum is unnecessary. From the mystery comes the magic, and back to the mystery it returns. I'd rather have mystery and the magic it provides than a solved mystery, leaving a magicless world. I agree. It's like, even if you read something that is based in fact, it's only fact because somebody wrote it somewhere, sometime, in some kind of book, or on a cave wall somewhere. I mean, we don't know. I could have been a cave person, I could have been, you know, a Neolithic man or woman or whatever, and just wrote, yeah, we have 5-headed creatures here, and they ate my whole village. And we would take that as fact. But it could be just, maybe I was delusional. Maybe I was hungry and I couldn't find any food, and I was like losing my mind, and I just thought I saw a 5-headed creature. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... Fact is such a... I want to say misnomer. It's just... I take everything with a grain of salt. And I'm talking about everything. I'm taking this with a grain of salt. Because it's already said. We don't know. It's saying this is all based on different stories, different people's accounts. And it's like, you choose to believe what you want to believe. I mean, at the end of the day, it's... I cannot stand when... I'm trying to get away from it. I'm trying to not be a know-it-all. I just believe we never know. We never know. I don't care. You can show me any kind of book and say, it's written right here. Or Google it. Somebody in my life used to do that all the time. Oh, well, it must be true if it's on Google. Do you know I just went on a Wikipedia page the other day and was about to just edit something that I saw because I just knew it was wrong? And I was like, why am I doing this? What is the point? I mean, because this is what I believe. I mean, it was something like I'd actually seen in like a movie, and like the page on this actor's page was saying that the movie came out during this certain time. Something like that. It was something that I knew because I had seen the movie, and the Wikipedia page was wrong because it was obviously written by someone who didn't see the movie. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. But even in those cases, everything is mystery, really. Your truth, my truth, they're all different. So, anyway, I'm going to get off that tangent. But, I mean, debates are healthy, you know. They should be. They can be, if you just admit that you really don't know at the end of the day. None of us do. There's one being in this whole shenanigans that knows everything, and it's not any human. I'll tell you that much. Or anyone that's ever written any books. Trust me, I'm writing books right now, a few of them that I'm working on, and I'm basing my stuff on my personal facts of my life, my memories, whatever. But memories can be wrong too. You know, I remember things differently than my sister does and my brothers do. You know, there's some things that we agree on. We're like, oh yeah, remember that happened? And then there's some things that we haven't, we're like, no, that, you know, that didn't happen. We were not there during that year. It was the other year, you know, whatever. Anyway, so the goddesses most, okay, I think I already said that. Oh, the goddesses most frequently associated with the Morrigan are Bab, Masha, and Morrigu, aka Morrigan. I think Morrigu is just Morrigan plural, if I'm not mistaken. They're famous for being warlike furies, urging combatants to fight. Some writers have argued that the sisters were not so much goddesses as 3 sinister and destructive female beings who prophesized carnage and haunted battlefields. However, anything in triplicate, such as 3 sisters, this is what I was just talking about with the 3 crows, within Celtic mythology signified an exalted status. And that's what drew me to this, because I just think that's so cool that these crows have come into my life in 3s like that. 3 is a significant number for me, and I always see 3s. Well, I was thinking about it the other day. I get these downloads, and I don't know, I should do videos about them, but I was just thinking about the Holy Trinity, 3. You know, growing up in Catholic church, it's Father, Son, Holy. Well, you know, as a young kid, I think we used to say Holy Ghost. And then they started to change it to Holy Spirit. Whatever way you want to say it. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, whatever. Also, id, ego, superego. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Father, Son, and genuflect. That's just something that naturally... Anyway, so 3. It's exalted. Some believe. Where was I? They could appear as crows. This was blowing my mind when I first read this because, like I said, these crows have been... Oh, I post the videos. I used to tell people I'm with, I'm like, those crows are following us. Do you not see that? And they're just like, there's always birds around. What are you talking about? No, it's different when you just see random birds around. But when you have specifically crows, it speaks to something different to me. I don't know. So this resonates for me, and that's why I'm sharing it, because it might resonate for some of you. They could appear as crows, speaking to, inspiring, or contributing to the downfall of great characters and creatures, sometimes through a dark, mysterious language. So the downfall. And see, I've already talked about it before. I'm a Sagittarius, rising in North Node. I'm a Capricorn, but I always try to look at things from positive because it's like, this is saying downfall. But ever since these crows appeared, I've had the same kind of challenges. I mean, it's not like I have had a horrible life since they came into my life. I've had equal amounts of good and bad, just like anybody else. But I believe that they're there to remind me of my own power. Like, not necessarily to rely on other people around me or outside of me to base my life off of, basically. They just remind me of my power. The Morrigan sisters were often a unified force, but they each possessed unique powers. And that's the other reason why I think crows kind of present that, because if you study crows or if you're interested in them, you know that they just have this gang or mob mentality where they stick up for each other. I think they've even done research where they hold funerals for crows, hold funerals for other crows. Different things like that. I just see them as so human-like in their demeanors and characteristics. And, well, where's my little thing? Oh, so I've got crow feathers right here. They leave them for me. I'm not joking. That's a crow feather right there. They leave them for me. I have tons of them. I have whole containers of them. Not just, I have other feathers. Anyway, I'll do a video about that another time. But they leave them for me. How do I know that? Because I know. That's something I definitely know. The other day, that big one, the other day, I haven't cleaned these yet, so that's why they're here with this leaf, because I had to carry them in the leaf. Because I didn't want to, like, touch it. Because, I don't know what happened to the crow that lost that feather. It could be sick or something, so I have to clean it. Usually I'll soak them in, like, Dawn or something. But I haven't soaked those yet. I just got them yesterday. But it was really windy out, and that was sticking in the grass, like up. And it was just one. Because I've seen, dead birds, obviously, with a whole bunch of feathers, and they're dead, their skeletons there and everything. But when I find them, there's always one. There's always one. I never taken any of those feathers when there's, like, more than one, because I feel like it's disrespectful or something. It's not left for me. But when it's one, and it's on my path, and where I walk is pretty busy, like, sidewalk. It's not like I'm the only person that walks that path every day. There's like probably, I mean, because it's also, there's like a bike, not a bike. Well, yeah, bikers come through there, but also there's like bus stops, a couple bus stops along that route. So there's a lot of foot traffic coming in and out of there. And the fact that it was windy and it was like in the afternoon, so it wasn't like I was the first person to walk along that path that day or anything. I mean, when it was very windy, so feathers are not going to sit there in the wind and just not go anywhere. I mean, they're going to blow. So the fact that it was right there on the path that day, anyway, it was meant for me. And you're not going to tell me otherwise. Anyway, so, oh, see, okay, I like when this book tells me how to pronounce things. So Bab, I've been saying it Bab, but it says Beeve. Bive. Beaver Bive. B-I-V-E. A-K-A B-O-D-B. See, this is where the Celtic is going to be kicking my butt, I swear. That's why I didn't want to read it out loud. May come from the Celtic Badua, which means fighting lady. Beeve, I guess I'm going to say Beeve, signified rage, fury, or violence, and was described as both goddess and witch. Beeve is known for being red-mouthed, a color that the Celts may have associated with death. She too could appear as a scald crow or carrion crow, and was sometimes called Beeve Catha, the scald crow of battle. As Beeve incited confusion within armies and reveled among the slain, she could inspire fear enough to cause insanity. The names of many Celtic goddesses reflected their relationship to humanity. Beeve may have been a generic name for a war goddess, an alternative title for the three sisters, in this case referred to as Morrigan, Mashu, and Niman. I would like to know how to pronounce Niman, because it's N-E-M-A-I-N, and I say Niman because of my French background. I mean, that in French that would be Niman maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, it's definitely not French. But a term for a bad fairy, or a basic title for a frightening female character who issued prophecies of doom. Beeve may be connected to the Banshee. Oh, that's where Banshee comes from. See, I didn't even learn this the first time reading this. So it's B-E-A-N-S-I-D-H-E, but Banshee, that's where we get the name Banshee from. Susie and the Banshees. Banshee's such a cool word, and I definitely think of Irish, like tales and stuff with that. Okay, a fairy whose appearance portends death. Like the Banshee, certain beeves were said to be attached to certain families, appearing as fateful omens in the shape of hooded crows. And okay, so, and this is what I love, because I swear these crows know that they're my family. I feel like they're my family. I mean, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. All this is so cool to me. Okay, while all Morrigan sisters are known for foretelling, Beeve's specific prophetic role involves warning of danger to come. She's fierce but not evil. As a crow, Bee may take a mother goddess form who, even though bloodshed was ultimately recovering her progeny, her name possibly used by early authors wishing to stress the most frightening aspects of the Morrigan. Modern manifestations of Beeve may be unnerving, such as a dream of an impending death. They may also be helpful, such as a sudden urge to clutch your bag, only to discover that someone was planning to take your wallet. Beeve may be a frightening Morrigan sister, but there's a role for scary goddesses. Sometimes they're the best ones to walk us through scary times. So, okay, so we're just reading about Beeve. Hold on, let me see how much longer this goes on. I'm not trying to do this video for like 3 hours. Okay, it goes through all the different goddesses. So we'll probably stop there, and then I'll do some more tomorrow. I don't know how long I'll be able to record this video. I just want to read about Eve, Masha, and the Morrigan, and then the rest of them. Well, no, there's value in all of them, really. But anyway, so we've just been reading about Eve. Let's see. Where was I? Did I just read all of that? Oh yeah, Through Scary Times. Okay, so I think that's why they've appeared during this time. Obviously, what's going on in the world. A lot of transition, a lot of change, a lot of destruction to build up a better narrative. And that's why they've appeared during this time for me in my personal life. Now, if you're drawn to this video and you work with deities, and specifically the Morrigan, or if you find the crow being your spirit animal, I use crow and raven interchangeably, even though I know they're a entirely different bird. They have a lot of similarities. Being that I lived in Baltimore for, I don't know, some of my life, anyway, the Baltimore Ravens were the football team, and obviously Edgar Allan Poe was, well, yeah, I mean, you know, he's Baltimore. He's part of Baltimore history. That, and even as a kid, you know, I read Poe, I read, you know, his poetry. I remember going to a play of The Telltale Heart, and I just loved it. I just couldn't imagine something so cool. So anyway, I have a fascination with all of that. And then the Game of Thrones with the three-eyed raven and all of that. It has a certain resonance in my life, personally, that I can relate to and that I'm drawn to. So that's why this fascinates me, and I like to read the history, and I thought I would share it. So hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully it does maybe start some wheels turning in your mind, and maybe you can, you know, get some interest out of this fascination into this, whatever. It's an interest of yours, then cool. But again, like I was thinking before I did this video, I'm like, gosh, you know, I would love to kind of, I'm gonna be moving soon, so hopefully when I move I can have like an actual office I can record my videos in. That'll be much more kind of soundproof and professional, I guess you could say. But I'm gonna continue to do these videos, and in the meantime, just to kind of, well, this is a hobby of mine, so hopefully somebody can appreciate them. And I think I'm gonna stop there for now and do some more about Masha and the Morrigan, Anu, Danu, and Niman and Faye in my next video. And then, you know, each week I'll go through, like, we'll go over chapter 2, which goes over the Morrigan in the battlefield. And that's really cool, because that's really what sparked my interest about the Morrigan, and how they appear when people are either on the verge of dying or kind of like well, yeah, the Morrigan in the battlefield. It says what it needs. It says all I need to say with that. And then it goes into like the shape shifting and how they're major shapeshifters. That was one of their real claims to fame, I guess you would say. Like, they could shapeshift and be different entities and stuff. So it's just cool. There's a lot of cool stories and stuff that I want to get into. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I'm going to do some tarot after this, so I'm going to have a few tarot videos up later that you may or may not be interested in, so look out for that. And I think that's it. I've got a bunch of books that I want to do kind of like, I guess, ASMR type readings. where I read them. I've been told I have a nice voice. You probably can't tell because I'm not really on my microphone right now. But I do have a microphone and I can talk very quietly and peacefully, so I may do a few of those. But in the meantime, yeah, I guess that's where I'm going to stop for now with this. So we'll get back into part 3 of the Morrigan. I guess this will be part 1 because the first thing was an introduction. So we'll say this is part 1 of the Morrigan. And then part 2 will come next. I'll try to do it a weekly thing. It'll be next Tuesday or Wednesday. And then, we'll just go through the different chapters of this book and see what we can find out more about the history of the Morrigan, the storytelling, get into some of that. So I hope you like this video. I like just doing the casual thing, but I will try to be more professional. Sorry about any background noise. I have a fan going, air conditioning. I don't know how noisy it's going to be, but anyway, hopefully you like the video. Hopefully you're enjoying the Morrigan series, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.